While the prestige and notoriety of Culver Military Academy and its Black Horse Troop continued to grow since the school's landmark participation in the 1913 and 1917 presidential inaugurals, Culver had not actually participated in an inaugural parade in over 30 years when Squadron Commander Jared Jackson, class of '53, went to work in 1952 to convince Culver Superintendent Colonel W. E. Gregory to pursue an invitation for the troop to the next inaugural parade. His efforts were met with rejection, but by 1956, Major General Delmar T. Spivey had been named superintendent and solicited an invitation, though it arrived during Christmas vacation for the troopers. By the time they arrived back at Culver, troop directors Captain John Fritz and Bob Feely had contracted for a dozen horse vans to move 100 horses to Maryland. The next 11 days were spent in frantic drilling. The 1957 event established the ritual which would come to govern all future troop participation in inaugural parades. The need to find transport and stabling for the horses, secure accommodations, make travel arrangements, publicize the event to alumni, patrons, and state and national news media, establish budgets, secure insurance, and fit the trip into the ever-present semester exam schedule remains much the same today. The troop traveled to Washington via railroad on the Liberty Limited from Plymouth and made for an impressive visual during the parade under the leadership of Troop Commander Rich Wyan, class of 1957. The night before the troop's next inaugural appearance at festivities for President John F. Kennedy in 1961, a 7-inch snowstorm belted Washington, and 200 pieces of snow removal equipment were hurriedly called in. Culver was voted runner-up to VMI as Best Marching Unit. 1965's inauguration of President Lyndon Johnson was Culver's last trip to an inaugural via railroad. Adding to the excitement of the event, Culver Squadron Commander Lander Carter and Cadet Captains John Marvin and Bill Moon, all from the class of '65, were interviewed by Jack Lascouli for NBC's Today Show. Back in Culver, however, South Bend's NBC affiliate preempted the interview in favor of Romper Room. At a dinner dance hosted by Mount Vernon College, Trooper Steve Nichols, class of 1966, escorted the granddaughter of ex-President Eisenhower. For the first time, the troop was designated a national unit for the 1969 Nixon inaugural, rather than just a state representative. Nixon's 1973 inaugural saw the unit led by Sam Austin, 73, passing large numbers of angry anti-war demonstrators, a sign of the tumultuous times. During the 1977 inaugural of President Jimmy Carter, the troop paraded with a unique set of 64 flags of the American Revolution, produced exclusively for Culver in conjunction with the previous year's bicentennial celebrations. Culver's participation in Ronald Reagan's 1981 inaugural almost didn't take place, due to high costs and conflicts with student exams and athletic schedules. Then Superintendent John R. Mars was persuaded after long debate within the administration, discussions among trustees, and pledges of support from the Culver Legion to reverse ground and announce that the troop would participate. Pre-inaugural events included lunch with Congressman Elwood H. Bud Hillis, class of 1944, at the Supreme Court building. 1985's inaugural was memorable for its mixture of joy and sorrow. The event marked the first time Culver Girls Academy's honor unit, the equestrians, would attend, but also proved deeply disappointing when bitter cold, snow, and wind forced cancellation of Reagan's second inauguration parade. The equestrians had their chance again, however, in 1989, making history during President George Bush's inaugural festivities. Another Indiana Vice President, Dan Quayle, had a special connection. His siblings had attended Culver in the 1970s. Culver made headlines nationally in 1993 when it was among those not invited to the parade. Culver Superintendent Ralph Manuel was interviewed by a host of national television and print media, including CNN and the Associated Press. President Clinton had his chance to view Culver at its finest in 1997, however. The troop and equestrians were back on the invited list. Today's Dean of Girls, Lynn Rash, class of 1976, who may have participated in more inaugurals than any other present Culver staff or faculty member, told the Alumni magazine that the 2001 inaugural parade for President George W. Bush was likely the most memorable for Culver students because of the bitter cold and freezing rain of Inauguration Day. The second Bush inaugural, the first in a post-9/11 setting, was marked by unprecedented levels of security, prompting Trooper Shane Giuliani, class of '05, to write in the Vedette that the inaugural may ironically have been the safest place in the world at the time. 2009's inaugural saw troopers and equestrians greeting America's first African-American president, Barack Obama. The 2013 event was marked by particular celebration as the centennial of Culver's ongoing inaugural participation, with eyes toward the next century of Culver faces in that grandest of parades.